Okay, it's fall and time to rake some leaves. You can see I got all kinds of pine straw and leaves, and I have purchased a nice new John Deere, and I need to switch my Cyclone Rake equipment from the old to the new, and so I figured I'd make a quick video to show you what's involved in installing a Cyclone Rake, and I'll give you a demo of how it works too. So the main components that we're worried about are this plate in the back. The trailer hitch is just something I use to carry a trailer around, but that plate, and then those two silver knobs, need to take those off, and the little mounting plates, and I'm going to use those two holes on the new deck, and we'll have to drill that plate, holes for that plate, and mount it up back there on the new tractor. So we will get going on that. One thing I'll point out, when you buy one of these, well, at least when I bought it, mine's about 4 years old now, they send you this whole kit. You get a nice manual and a little tool kit with just about everything you're going to need except for the drill, a center punch, drill bit, it's an oil change wrench. Basically, they give you all the tools to make it easy if you don't already have the tools. Now, because you're probably not interested in how to unmount a Cyclone Rake, I'm just going to take everything off the old tractor, and we'll continue once I'm ready to start installing on the new. Alright, so we're going to start by mounting the back plate, because that's going to be the easiest part. As you can see, there are multiple holes on each side, and there's a little notch right in the middle, so you can line it up pretty easy. So they want this to be mounted 12 inches high, the plate here, but it can be anywhere between 10 and 14 depending on what you're mounting to. With my little trailer ball installed, it's actually conveniently it's 12 inches on the dot, so I don't really have to worry about the height. Make sure your tires are inflated before you do this. You don't want to put it on and then find out you're way off because your tires are underinflated. But with that little notch there, it could be measuring this out and centering it, but all I got to do is, align my trailer ball with the factory hole for the hitch, and they're all set. I'm going to level this out. Got a bubble in my level. There we go. There we go. It's all level. And it doesn't look level. I think I'm on some slightly sloped ground here. I'm looking at this this little groove in the plate. I'm going to line up with that instead. And just to be sure, let's do a couple measurements. Yeah, okay. That's it. I'm on a slight slope, so can't trust the level. Now, I'll go ahead and mark a couple holes where I want to drill. And of course, I've already kind of scouted this out, but when you go to drill, you're going to really want to be sure there's nothing behind the plate where you're going to drill. If you got transmission or hydraulics or anything back there, make sure. There could be a big, metal bracket there or something. The way that plate is mounted, you have, a bolt, and then you have this metal plate that they give you that goes in back. So you want to make sure that can sit flat, and that there's room for a bolt to go through, and that you're not going to drill into anything important when you go through there. Right, so now I'm going to put a little dent in here to make sure I don't walk the bit. This is a 3/8 inch bit that came with the Cyclone Rake, so it's Go ahead and drill our hole. Okay, I'm going to switch out to a newer bit. You know, as you might expect, a free bit isn't going to last that long, and I guess drilling out the metal of my last tractor pretty much did this thing in, so go to a nice new bit. Okay, John Deere uses some serious metal back there. It took a while. On to the next. Okay, that was a lot more work than I remembered. I guess it's a difference between a Yardman and John Deere metal. Alright, so I'll set this back up here. And there's a little washer that goes over. Alright, and then on the back you put this plate in, and there's a lock nut, a nylon lock nut, and that's all it is. Okay, and that's all set. Now for what I think is going to be the more interesting part, putting the chute adapter on. Okay, so with this deck I have the mulching kit installed, which you see this plastic piece. It's actually just not a plug, it goes all the way around the inside of the deck. So I really fit this. I'm going to have to take the deck down and then take that plastic piece out, so you can see what I was talking about with the plastic baffle, I guess you could call it. So take that off and then we can fit the chute. So in case you're wondering, that's what the mulching baffle is what I'm going to call it. It looks like inside, you know, when it's removed from the deck. Okay, so as I mentioned, I'm going to try and use these two holes to line that up. Trying to figure out how this front's going to work. I think I might just cut right inside to allow this to maybe slip over and start getting some clearance. Otherwise, I just got to notch out this end a little bit. And this post back here, I'm going to have to start cutting out of here as well. So I'll get to work on that and we'll see how it works out. Looks like I'm going to have to take this plate off so I can cut up higher here. So we'll go ahead and do that and then come back to this. That's looking pretty good. put the plate back on so I can finish getting it lined up. So it occurs to me that this doesn't come assembled, so when you first get your leaf rake, you actually have to, you know, position this just right, you know, figure out where it fits on your mower, and then you drill, you know, once you kind of figure out where you want the plate, you set it down, you mark your holes, and then, you know, drill it out. And then you can, oops, right way. And then you can mount this. So it does not come pre-installed. It's not real. I mean, it's kind of worky to get together, right? Just because you got to do a lot of measuring and all that. All the cutting I'm doing on this is just because I'm trying to reuse this boot, or you know, mower deck adapter. Probably if I ordered the adapter for this unit, they'd maybe send me something that worked a little better out of the box. But in any event, you saw, I mean, it's just a few pieces. It's not real hard to assemble. It's just a matter of getting it positioned right. And so that's all there is to that. Alright, yeah, looks like I've about got it as close as I'm going to get it. So let's go ahead and put the bolts in for that. Good, I was hoping that'd fit. So it's just a couple of bolts. They have this metal bracket that goes on top. They loosened up at one point, so the threads are a little messed up in the middle. I wrench tighten it all the way. And so what finally holds these on are just these metal knobs. And there it is. I got a nice, pretty good fit in the front. A little bit of a gap there. There's a bit of a gap there, and then I wound up cutting a little too much back there because I was on an angle before I fit the front, so that was my bad. But I might come back a little later and fiberglass it or something like that. The Cyclone puts in, pulls a lot of air, so the fact that there are gaps there, you're not going to really get too much stuff falling out because there's so much suction. I might be able to get, I'll probably lose a little bit of deck vacuum because of the gaps, but shouldn't be that big a deal. And all right, I'm ready to put the deck back in, and I'll show you how this whole thing works when I'm done. So it turns out I'm not quite ready yet because of the way I had to cut this in. This is a little too long now, so I need to make a nice little cut around that. better. Alright. Okay, so let's start putting this thing together for use. You see there's the bottom of the frame and the wheels for the cart. I opted for the double wheels, so you know it should be easier on the lawn, less chance of sinking in as it gets heavy. So let's put them on. It's really straightforward. You just pull out the bottom pin, hook them into the top, and put the bottom pin back in. And now we'll hook it up to the tractor. And this hooks in with just a couple of pins. There it is. Now, because this hooks in with two pins, it's not like a traditional trailer that follows the tractor. As I turn left, this is actually going to swing out to the right. So when you first start driving this, keep that in mind. It turns as one big unit with the center of the tractor as the pivot. I should say the back of the tractor. The hitch is the pivot point, basically. And when you make a sharp turn, this thing, just the back end of this will just whip out, and if your car or a tree is there, you can smash into it. So I've hit a few trees, not my car, fortunately. So let's put the rest of this together. Next step is installing setting the engine on. And this is a little heavy, but they do sell a jack where you can just put the jack down and leave the set up all the time. I don't want to take up all that space, so I didn't buy the jack, and I just deal with putting this back on and off all the time. There's handles on either side. Gotta get the wheels just right. To secure it, it just has these threaded handles that go in the front and the back. Before I go any further, I'll just give you a quick tour of the power unit. Comes with mine came with a 9 horsepower Vanguard Briggs & Stratton. It's been really dependable, even after storing it all year. A couple of pulls, it starts right up. It's, like I said, it's another engine, more gas. It is fairly loud. So I wear hearing protection whenever I'm mowing. I do that anyway, but I would really recommend it when you got the vacuum going. It's quite a bit louder than the mower itself. And over on the other side is the actual vacuum part, and so there's the inside. The impeller piece is like a really hard rubber maybe, or some sort of plastic, but it's you know, I've used it for many seasons without any issues. You know, this thing vacuums up little rocks and pieces of sticks and everything else, so it's been beat up, I'm sure, but it's not really shown anywhere, and so no problems with that. You can maybe be able to tell the inside wall is on the outside of it. The outside of the circumference is lined with metal. That's an option, at least at the time I purchased this, so I paid a little extra for that just to make sure this thing lasts. I mean, the actual plastic, if this will focus, is pretty heavy duty and thick, but I figured, what the heck, you know, I want to have this a long time, and let's just make sure that it doesn't get worn out prematurely. So that's what it looks like on the inside, and that just is kind of interesting. The little trapezoid there is actually a vent. If your unit gets full and blocked, air will come flying out of there. Normally it does not, but so alright, I think that's enough of that. Let's get it put the rest of the way together. This is a locking bar that you can use while you're dumping it or whatnot. They give you this little bungee cord to help hold things together. There's a pocket on the other side. Just throw it in when you're done. And much like the bar in the middle, they're locking bars that hold it open. And then lastly, there's a spreader bar that goes across the back. The collar just clips on. And with the same sort of clips, clip the hose on. Well, I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to show this to you. One thing I didn't consider is that my new mower is a little bigger, and as a result, the hose no longer quite reaches. I'm going to mess with it for a minute and see if I can make it fit, but I don't think it's going to. Okay, I got it to work. I'm not proud of it. I have to buy a longer hose, but I hooked it on the back, unhooked it from the front, or I unhooked it from the front, then plugged it in the back, got as close to the front as I could, and then put a bunch of Gorilla Tape on it. So at least that'll let me pick everything up this weekend before it rains, and you know, I'll be able to get this video done and you know, hopefully it'll hold up long enough for me to get a new hose and do it properly. So I guess it should go. It's a good time to point out that when you get the hose, they make it pretty long, and then you're supposed to cut it to length that you need. And my older setup, obviously a little more compact, about 4 inches short on this one. So we'll see how far I get on tape, good old tape, and I'll show you how it works, and that'll be that. how the closure works. There's plastic buckles. You just undo those. Then undo the Velcro. There's rubber on the side to hold it in place. And if you're thinking that the Velcro is going to get clogged up, I mean, like I said, I've been using this for like 4 years. You could hear that Velcro is still sticking on there nice and strong. Even though there's some stuff on here, the Velcro still works. And you open up all the clasps along the back. And flip that up, and that's how that works. You know, you can just tip it up, dump it, pull off like I did. Usually it all just comes right out, and when you're done, drop this back down. I don't usually worry too much about lining up the Velcro. You know, I try and do it real quick like that. Figure the air pressure is going to hold this closed more than anything, but at least there's not as much air leakage that way, I suppose. That's how that works. One thing I should probably mention, do not use this thing across the face of a hill, only go up and down. When it gets heavy, it'll pull the whole tractor sideways. And they make a big point of that in the manual as well. But I should cover real quick is on the top, at least in my opinion, it seems to be a downside. Where that vent is, they send two different screen sizes. That's the large screen size, and probably why you see so much stuff flying out. At least when I ran with the small size, it kept clogging up, and you know, basically no air can, you know, very little air can get out of the bag, and the whole thing doesn't really work as well anymore. So that's the only thing I've really had trouble with. And you know, if it does clog up, you just turn the unit off, and you know, you kind of hit it a couple of times, you tap it on top, and it'll knock everything loose, and you can continue on your way. I'm back. One person did ask me in my x590 video, how well does it do on hills? Well, I'll run up. This is my, you know, it's a good incline. I'll run it up and down real quick here so you can see it doesn't slow down at all. It really pulls well. Okay, and let's take it down. Undo the spreader bar. It has little dimples here that go in the holes on the top. And then you unlatch the bars in the front. Your Velcro strap out. Of course, unclip this from the blower. Something's hung up. A little Velcro strap on to keep it together. And undo the pin or the holder rod. this off. Gorilla tape held up just well enough to get it done. And it's done. Just to give you an idea, you get mounting brackets, and that's how you can store the main bag and trailer portion. I have the engine stored elsewhere, but you can see the hose just can sit up on top of the brackets and everything goes up. I think you can see up front here it really did a nice job. There's still a little bit of pine needles on there, but and you can see how it turned with the tractor. Overall, you know, I really like this. It might take me a couple passes right now the way I got it rigged up, but it sure beats raking. And you know, with its ability to fold down, it's, you know, it's a nice nice unit. I would recommend it. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was helpful, and I will end it here. And enjoy. Let me know if you have any questions. Leave a comment. I usually get back within a day or two. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer. And thanks for watching. Subscribe. You know, check out my channel. I got more videos on the tractor, snowblowers. You know, working my way through things as I repair them. I'll make a video, and you know, people seem to find it interesting. So take care for now. Bye.